2. In 1961 and 1962, age 14, 15, 16. My name is Andrea. It means manhood or courage. In Europe, only boys are named it. I live in the USA. I was born down the street from Walt Whitman's house on Mickle Street in Camden in 1946, after the war, after the bomb. I was the first generation after the bomb. I've always known I would die. Other generations didn't think so. Everyone says I'm sad, but I'm not sad. It doesn't make me sad. The houses were brick. The brick was made of blood and straw. There was dust and dirt in the sidewalks. The sidewalks were gray. The cement was cracked. It was dark, always dark, thick dark. You could reach out and touch it. It came down all around you, and you could feel it weighing on you and bumping up against you. You moved against the dark or under it, or it pushed you from behind. The dark was everything. You had to learn to read it with your fingers, or you might get lost, might die. The cement was next, a great gray desert. You were on it, stuck and abandoned. A great gray plain going on forever. They made you fall on your knees on the cement and stay there so the dark could come and get you. The dark pushed you, the cement was the bed, you fell on your knees, the dark took you, the cement cradled you, a harsh, angry embrace tearing the skin off your knees and hands. Some places there is a great, unbearable wind, and the fragile human breaks in it, bends in it, falls. Here, there was this dark, like the great, unbearable wind, but perfectly still, quiet, thick. It pushed without moving. Them in the dark, the cement was the bed, the cold slat of death, a grave with no rest, the best bed you could get, the best bed you would ever have. You fell forward on your knees, pushed by the dark from behind, and the dark banged into you, or sometimes there were boys in cars flying by in the dark, and then coming around from behind later, the same ones, or sometimes different ones. The dark was some army of them, some mass, a creature from the deep, the blob, a giant parasite, some spreading monster, pods, wolfmen. They called you names, and they hissed, hot steam off their tongues. They followed you and beat up cars, or they just stood around, and they whistled and made noises, and the dark pushed you down and banged into you, and you were not praying, waiting, wanting, all right, wanting for the dark to move off you, pick itself up and run. The dark was hissing and hot and hard with the jagged bone, cold, brutal bone, and hips packed tight. The dark wasn't just at night. The dark was any time, any place. You could open your eyes and the dark is there, right up against you, pressing. You can't see anything, and you don't know any names. Not just who they are, or the names for what they do. The dark is all you know. Familiar, old, from long ago. It is Nino or Joe or Ken, curly hair or straight, hard hips, tight, driven, familiar with strange words whispered in your ear like wind lashing it. Do they see you? Do they know your name? I'm Andrea, you whisper in the dark, and the dark whispers back, okay, babe. Shut up, babe. That's cool, babe. It's a pretty name, babe. And it pulls out all the way and drives. Nino is rough and bad, him and his friend, and he says, what's wrong in making love? What's wrong with making love here, right now, on this lunch counter? We're in Litz. I'm alone, a grown-up teenage girl at the lunch counter. Myself. They come up to me. I don't know the name of the other one. I've never heard anyone say making love before. Nino takes the salt shaker and the pepper shaker from the counter and rubs them against each other, slow, and he starts talking at me, so I can't move my head away from his eyes, and he says, what's wrong with it here, now, in the daytime, on this lunch counter, you and me, now? And I don't know what's wrong with it. Is Nino one of them in the dark? Stuart is my age from school before he stopped coming and went bad and started running with gangs, and he warned me to stay away from him, and Nino, who is older and bad, and where they go. Nino has a knife. I wrote my first poem for Nino. I want it to be Nino. I touch him back. I ran away lots of times. I was on the bus to New York lots of times. I necked with old men I found on the bus lots of times. I necked with Vincent and Charles different times, adults. Vincent had gray hair and a thick foreign accent, Italian, and Charles had a hard bronze face and an accent you could barely hear from someplace far, far away. And they liked 15-year-old girls. and they whispered deep, horsey choked words and had wet mouths, and you crouched down in the seats. One became a famous movie star, and I went to watch him in cowboy films. He was the baddie, but he was real nice to me. I said I wanted to be a writer, a real writer, a great writer like Rimbaud or Dostoevsky. He didn't laugh. He said we were both artists, and it was hard. He said, Andrea, that's a pretty name. He said, follow your dream, never give up. It takes a long time, years even, and we slouched down in the seats. I knew the highway to New York and the streets when I got there. I knew the back alleys in Philadelphia too, but I didn't like Philadelphia. It was fake. Pretend folk singers and pretend guitar players and pretend drug dealers, all attitude, some pot, nothing hard, pretend poets, a different attitude, no poems. You couldn't get lost in the dark. It wasn't dense enough. It wasn't desolate enough. It was safe, really, a playpen. The fake girls went there to not get hurt, to have regular boyfriends, to pretend they were different or bad, but I was really lost. So I had to be lost, not pretend, in the dark as hard and unyielding as the cement under it. In New York, I got off the bus, dank from old Charles, old Vincent. He walked away, wet, rumpled, not looking back. I had some dollars in my hand, and I took the A train to Greenwich Village, and I went to the 8th Street bookstore, the center of the universe, the place where real poets went, the most incredible place on earth. They make beauty from the dark, the gray, the cement, the torn skin on your bruised knees, your bloody hands. It wasn't the raspy, choked, rough whisper. It was real beautiful words with a perfect shape and sound, and filled with pain and rage and pure perfect. And I looked everywhere, at every book, at every poem, at every play. I touched every book of poems. I just touched them, just passed my hands over them. And I bought any poems I had money for. Sometimes it was just a few pages stapled together with print on it, and I kept them with me, and I could barely breathe. And I knew names no one else knew. Charles Olson, Robert Duncan, Gregory Corso, Anselm Hollow, Leroy Jones, Lawrence Ferlinghetti, Kenneth Patchen, Robert Creeley, Kenneth Rexroth. And when Allen Ginsberg had new poems, I almost died. Allen Ginsberg, who was the most perfect and the bravest and the best, and the words were perfect beauty and perfect power and perfect pain, and I carried them with me, and I read them, stunned and truly trembling inside, because they went past all lies to something hidden inside, and I got back on the bus, and I got back to Camden, and I had the poems, and someday it would be me. I wrote words out on paper and hid them because my mother would say they were dirty words. All the true words were dirty words. I wrote private, secret words in funny shaped lines. You could take the dark, the thick, mean, hard, sad dark, the gray cement, lonely as death, cold as death, stone cold, the torn skin, you on your knees, your hands bleeding on the cold cement, and you could use words to say, I am. I am. I want. I know. I feel. I see. Nino's knife cold on the edge of my skin, down my back, the cement underneath. I want. I know. I feel. Then he tears you apart. You could use words to say what it was and how it felt in the dark. A suffocating mask over your face or a granite mountain pressing you under it. You're a fossil. Delicate. Ancient. Buried alive and perfectly preserved. Some bones between the mountain and the ground level, pressed flat on the cement under the dark. The great, still, thick, heavy dark. You could sing pain soft, or you could holler. You could use the voices of the dead if you had to. The other skeletons pressed in the cement. You could write the words on the cement, blind in the dark, pushed on your knees, the finger dipped in blood, or pushed flat on the dark on you, the cement under you, Nino's knife touching the edge of your skin. The poem said, Andrea, me too. I'm on my knees, afraid, alone, and I sing. I'm pushed flat, rammed, torn up, and I sing. I weep, I rage, I sing. I hurt, I'm sad. I sing. I want, I'm lost, I sing. You learn the names of things, the true names, short, abrupt, unkind, and you learn to sing them. Your heart soared from them, the song of them, the great simple music of them. The dark stayed dark and hard, but now it had sound in it. A bittersweet lyric, music, carried on the edge of a broken line. Then my mama found the words I wrote and called me awful names, foul names, in a screaming voice. In filthy hate she screamed I was dirty, she screamed she wanted me off the face of the earth, she screamed she'd lock me up. I left on the bus to New York. No one's locking me out. When the men said the names, they whispered and touched you flat on the cement. Still, there were no locks, no walls. When the men said the names, they were all tangled in you, and their skin was melting into you the way night covers everything. They curved and curled. There was the edge of Nino's knife on your skin, down your back, with him in you. The cement under you, your skin scraped away, burned off almost, the sweat on you turning as cold as the edge of his knife. Try to breathe. She screamed foul hate and spit obscene words and tore up all your things, all your poems that you had bought, and the words you had written, and she said she'd lock you up. No one locks me up. Men whispered the same names she said and touched you all over. They were on you, they covered you, they hid you. They were the weight of midnight on you, 100 years of midnight. They held you down and kept you still. And it was the only stillness you had, and you could hear a heartbeat. Men whispered names and touched you all over. Men wanted you all the time and never had enough of you. And the cement was a great gray plain stretching out forever, and you could wander on it forever, free, with signs that they had been there, and the promises that it would come back, abrasions, burns, thin, exquisite cuts, not locked up. Under them, covered, buried, pinned still, the dark ramming into you, you could hear a heartbeat. And somewhere, there were the ones who could sing, whisper, touch everywhere, sing. 3. In January 1965, age 18. My name is Andrea. It means manhood or courage, from the ancient Greek. I found this in Paul Tillich, although I like Martin Buber better because I believe in pure love. I thou. Love without boundaries or categories or conditions or making someone less than you are, not treating people like they are foreign or lower things. I it. Prejudice is I it. And I hate. And hate is I it. And treating people like dirt is I it. In Europe, only boys are named Andreas. But my mother didn't know that, and so I got named Andrea because she thought it was pretty. Philosophy comes from Europe, but poetry comes from America too. I was born down the street from Walt Whitman's house on Mickle Street in Camden, New Jersey in 1946 after the bomb. I'm not sad, but I wish everyone didn't have to die. Everyone will burn in a split second, even less. They won't even know it, but I bet it will hurt forever. And then there will be nothing. Forever. I can't stand it. Because it could be any second at all. Just even this second now. Or the next one. But I try not to think about it. I fought it for a while. When I had hope and when I loved everyone. I thou, not I it. And I've suffered to think they would die. When I was 14 I refused to face the wall during the bomb drill. They would ring a bell and we all had to file out of class in a line and stand 4 or 5 deep against the wall in the hall, and you had to put your hands behind your head and your elbows over your ears, and it hurt to keep your arms like that until they decided the bomb wasn't coming this time. I thought it was stupid, so I wouldn't do it. I said I wanted to see it coming if it was going to kill me. I really did want to see it. Of course, no one would see it coming. It was too fast, but I wanted to see something. I wanted to know something. I wanted to know that this was it and I was dying. It would just be a tiny flash of a second, so small you couldn't even imagine it, but I wanted it, whatever it was like. I wanted my whole life to go through my brain or to feel myself dying or whatever it was. I didn't want to be facing a wall pretending tomorrow was coming. I said it outraged my human dignity to have my elbows over my ears and be facing a wall and just waiting like an asshole when I was going to die. But they didn't think 14-year-olds had any human dignity, and you weren't allowed to say asshole even the minute before the bomb came. They punished me or disciplined me or whatever it is they think they're doing when they threaten you all the time. The bomb was coming, but I had to stay after school. I was supposed to be frightened of staying after school instead of the bomb, or more than the bomb. Adults are so awful. Their faces get all pulled and tight and mean, and they want to hit you, but the law says they can't, so they make you miserable for as long as they can, and they call your parents and say you were bad and try to get your parents to hate you because it's legal and to punish you some more. You ask them why you have to cover your ears with your elbows, and they tell you it's so your eardrums won't hurt from the noise. They consult each other in whispers, and this is the answer they come up with. I said I thought my eardrums would probably burn with the rest of me, so I got punished more. I kept waiting to see them wink or smile or laugh or something, even just among themselves, even though it wouldn't be nice to show they knew it was crap, but they acted serious like they meant it. They kept telling you that you were supposed to respect them, but you would have had to take stupid pills. I kept thinking about what it meant that this was my life and I was going to die. And I thought I could say asshole if I wanted, and face whatever way I wanted. And I didn't understand why I couldn't take a walk in the fucking spring air if I wanted. But I knew if I tried, they would hurt me by making me into a juvenile delinquent, which was a trick they had if you did things they didn't like. I kept reading Boo and tried to say I thou, but they were I it material, no matter how hard I tried, though maybe he had never encountered anything like them where he lived. I kept writing papers for English on Buber's philosophy so I could keep in touch with I thou even though I was surrounded by I it. I tried to reason it out, but I couldn't. I mean, they were going to die too, and all they could think of was keeping you in line and stopping you from whispering and making you stare at a wall. I kept thinking they were ghosts already, just dead already. Sometimes I thought that was the answer. Adults were dead people and bodies giving stupid orders. They thought I was fresh, but it was nothing like what I felt inside. Outside I was calm. Inside I kept screaming in my brain, "Are you alive? Are you zombies? The bomb is coming, assholes. Why do we have to stand in line? Why aren't we allowed to talk? Can I kiss Paul S. now? Before I die?" Fast. One time. In your last fucking minute on Earth, can't you do one fucking human thing, like do something or say something or believe something or show something or cry or laugh or teach us how to fight the goddamn Russians or anything, and not just make us stand here and be quiet like assholes? I wanted to scream, and in my brain, I screamed. It was a real voice screaming, like something so loud it could make your head explode, but I was too smart to scream in real life. So I asked quietly and intelligently why we couldn't talk. And they said we might miss important instructions. I mean, important instructions? Do you grasp it? I didn't scream because I knew there might be a tomorrow. But one day there wouldn't. And I would be as big as an asshole as the teachers, not